Okay, so let's talk for a second about the exchange of crews in December on the International Space Station. So this was expedition 44 and 45. These three astronauts and cosmonauts launched in July of last year. And many of you possibly were here for that launch. This astronaut, Kjell Lindgren, has a lot of ties to Colorado. He graduated from the Air Force Academy, did a graduate degree at Colorado State University, and then got an MD from the CU Medical School. And so we've been doing a lot of things with him while he was on his mission, one of which last October he agreed to have a bunch of school kids talk to him on the station. So we tied him in with about 2,000 6th through 8th graders across the country, and he spent about 45 minutes answering their questions. So just a few highlights of the mission. This was launch day. You'd sort of think they have to force him into the rocket if they're, dragging him along, but I know that that was not the case. Here were the three of them getting ready to board their Soyuz. So this was launched from Kazakhstan on a Russian Soyuz rocket. There was the launch in July. And then a couple of the highlights happened sort of toward the end of the mission. Lindgren and Scott Kelly, who was already on board the ISS, did 2 spacewalks in the course of about a week. And if this is the solar array truss, or the main truss of the station, there's Lindgren right there, sort of off at the end of the truss. You can see him doing his work. This was just in the first week in December. There was a launch of a Cygnus cargo vehicle to the International Space Station aboard an Atlas V rocket. And from the ISS, this is what the rocket launch looked like. So there's the rocket still burning, and here's the exhaust plume and against sort of a sunset sky. So that they don't often get to see the payloads that early in the mission. And anyway, about 5 days later, there's the Cygnus as it was approaching the station, and sort of one of the things I know Lindgren was very excited about being able to do. He was driving the robot arm, and so they get this spacecraft within about 30 feet of the station, and then he reached out with the arm and grabbed it and brought it in and docked it to the station. So that was all very successful. And then on December 11th, it was time to come home. So this was the three of them, Lindgren, his Russian commander, and a Japanese colleague. And so here they're climbing into the hatch of the Soyuz. Here they're in their spacesuits and ready to go. And you can see there's not a whole lot of room there. This is like the front seat of a Volkswagen, and a Volkswagen Beetle. And they're really crammed in. This is some of their cargo that they're bringing home. And their knees are up almost to their chin once they're fully in. So thankfully, it only takes them a few hours to get home once they undock. But here was the undocking of their Soyuz. So they're sitting in the descent module right here. And it was very unusual, but it was based on the timing. They landed in Kazakhstan about 2 hours after sunset, and they landed in a fairly substantial snowstorm. So this was after they landed. There's all sorts of helicopters and trucks descend on them, and there's the spacecraft right there, and here's the parachute sticking off to the side, and there was Kjell once they pulled him out of the Soyuz. And you can only imagine, you've been on the station for almost 6 months in microgravity, and you only have 6 people around you, and suddenly you're yanked out of this thing. You've got a crowd of people, and it's about 20 degrees below zero, and snow is blowing on you. So it must be quite a shock. But he certainly looked happy to be home, and this was his, I guess, first phone call back to his family. So that was all very successful, and we don't know the exact details yet, but he will be visiting the museum probably in early June and doing a couple of days of programs with us. So we'll keep you posted on that, and hopefully you'll be able to come and see Chell in person.